So bear with me, watch this video. You might find some things quite interesting. Yeah, I've been over some of them before, but I can probably explain them, expand on the explanations of things. So we've been over the motions of the stars, which a lot of people cannot understand, how the stars are slower than the sun. The sun actually passes the stars. We come back here actually. Pythagoras, a philosopher and a mystic, they say. Well, all the ancients had esoteric information because they've all been enlightened. So they can understand more than the common human being. That's why everything is written by these people. It's what ancient philosophy is all about. Ancient philosophy is actually about nature and the way the flat earth works. And it's associated with the consciousness, man's brain, because there's a connection between earth system, the godly system in there, and the human brain. You have a conscious state. Earth has one too, and it's called God, which is basically the Father and the Son. It's the Trinity, like the God, the Father, and the Son. The God is the unification, and the Father is the whole. It's basically the black hole. The Sun is on the horizon, and see, out of the whole comes the sounds. In the beginning was word, comes out of our mouths, or sound out of the whole. And the right resonant frequency created, we could say in science, a supernova. It set the star supernova. It enlightened the star. That's enlightenment. The sun is an enlightened star. Same as man. He can be enlightened. Bang, bingo. It's all about balance. That's why the Egyptians show us the scales of balance, because they know there has to be a balance, equilibrium between the human conscious mind and his heart. An awesome moment. It's a divine moment. It's enlightenment. That's how it all comes about. That's how you end up being one of these people. And you end up knowing stuff. So this is how you can look at the black hole, but this is the way science draws it. Stretched out, it's one way of looking at it, but you've got to imagine it brought straight back up, just a plane. Like there's nothing through. Although there is the system, you also have to look at the other way. It's just a flat plane, because this plane here is the ecliptic plane. It's circular, but because the sun is seen on the plane, it's on the inside track actually, but it's so bright it lightens up a lot of area. It gives the appearance of the elliptic appearance, because they're using that as the focal point. Science is anyway. So gives the shape of the egg. The sun represents the yolk of the egg. This is the cosmic egg. All the planets on their separate tracks. But the sun's on the inside track, so it races around quicker than everything else. Catches up, swallows it for a while, hides it in the light of the sun before the sun moves on. Now, because you just got to put your mind to it, because what happens is the sun will catch up to the stars. So as it catches up to the stars, it's swallowing the stars. So the flow of stars has now been restricted back a little bit, because the sun is bearing these front stars. But at the other end of the cycle, they're showing up more stars, because the sun has come away from them, if you know what I mean. The sun will catch up to the stars and start swallowing them up, say. But as it's swallowing these ones up, there's more stars popping out the back here. That's how it works. The sun will race around ahead of the stars. So then we come to this, his association with mathematics and music. It's all connected with the earth. This is where he came to the octave, the 2-to-1 ratio. Universal sounds and ratios, three relationships especially pleasing that reoccur. They reoccur in nature. So they call this one the octave in the music, 2:1, which is the sun to the star ratio over the year and the sun to the moon ratio over 1 month. Then they have the fifth. It's the magnetic cycle, Plato's unequal line. Phi. Phi sounds like 5. Well, it is because 2 and 3 equal 5. That's the ratio. That's the golden ratio. It's a magnetic cycle. Plato's unequal divided line is a magnetic cycle. There it is there. There's the 2 points, initial points. For the full over the earth cycle in metaphysics we do not see. But then you do it again, then you get the view the man sees within the tropical zone. The sun's analemma, of course. Sun's analemma does a magnetic cycle. One cycle. So what you need to do is consider one earth meridian from centre north all the way out to south. There it is there. North to south is a 180 degree arc. Being a 180 degree arc, north to south, which is equivalent to one man's arc of horizon. He'll be on one meridian. Wherever he is on earth, he has a north to south meridian. He will always get his image. It's his image of the sky, night sky and everything, all relative to the observer. He sees this in his cycle. So if he pulls out a camera, he will get one of these over 1 year, no matter where he is around the earth, because everything is from the centre to the south. That's the southern hemisphere to this guy here. That's the southern hemisphere to this guy here. True, it works the same with their spinning ball, but they're not telling you the full story about this magnetic field, a bigger field in relation to a smaller field. The bigger field out south and the smaller field back in here. That's one magnetic cycle, all seen in one man's arc of horizon, on his meridian. Every man has one, because all the images come from the centre of the earth, reflected out here. There's one opposite. Everywhere around the earth is an opposite image. Now the other thing is, we have the arcs of longitude, which wasn't meant to be in this video, but while I'm here, arcs of longitude expanding from the centre. This is our earth. This is how the earth works. Everything expands out from the centre. All living things, everything expands in the field, because nothing is actually physical. That is a block wall for most common humans. So you have to understand that as we move south, everything expands except the fixed and stationary earth. So if we're moving across the earth, we're expanding in the field. So getting from A to B here is just as quick as getting from A to B out there. That distance is the same. And this is how we came about the Mercator maps. The straight lines. Because that distance is all the same in relation to your travel times. All the same. So this is the true model of Earth. Once you understand these distances are all the same in time, get to understand what the Mercator map is all about, and then you can use the Coliseum map in this situation. About thinking. So man has his own view of a cycle. This is where the phrase comes, relative to the observer. Everything is relative to the observer. His sphere a hemisphere is a dome. That brings us back to Euclidean geometry. It's all from a flat, fixed and stationary Earth. All the angles and triangles are his view from his zenith, 90 degrees to zenith, out on all these angles to his dome, his 180 degree, 360 degree hemisphere. So what Euclidean geometry is all about. Okay, so back to Pythagoras, the three relationships, especially pleasing, that reoccur. Then you have the fourth. It's a 4 to 3. But I haven't looked into this yet, so this will occur in nature somewhere. I haven't put my mind to that one yet. So remember the word father is the hole and opening. The resonant frequency, the perfect resonant frequency, bingo. Set the star alight. At the same time, you have to understand that star represents a human being on earth. His foretelling that he will be enlightened occurs at the full solar eclipse. And then following that is the full moon. That's when he's born. So what's happening is the sun is getting replaced. And you'll find this in a lot of mythological stories where the sun or the Greek gods, whatever they call, can't remember their names, they get upset because they know the Son of Man is coming to replace him. This is all divine stuff that common man is not taught, will not understand now, because he's so brainwashed with the utter garbage of his indoctrination education system, all organised by the Freakmasons. Now, stars. How the stars move around the southern hemisphere, the way they operate is all reflected from the centre Earth. There's the spiral in here. The snake on the cross represents the spiralling up and down and back up again. It's magnetic levitation in the centre of a magnetic field. That's what the tokamak's all about. The stars are reflected out from the centre here, out here, but you've got to understand this spiral effect back in here sends the things curving out here. But this is turning, it's sending the image out and around. But this is what's happening back in the centre. This is being reflected out. So stars are doing this. It's one cycle, one 360 degree cycle to spiral up, and during the day it spirals back down to come back up again. It's magnetic levitation. It's like this all the time. One 360 rotation over the night. And this is how we end up getting this cardioid look, see? Because that's the centre of the spiral. If you look down through the snake, through the post, the spiral, that's the centre. So over the night we'll see the stars go across our horizon, disappear during the day, go down and back up like this. Down and in, out and up. Back down and in, out and up. Forever doing this, 24 hours a day. This is an image of the northern field and the southern field. The bigger southern field and the northern field. So it's all happening in here. This is what you see. You don't see it's over a whole 24-hour day cycle. So what you need to realise is these stars in the northern hemisphere, they're just turning, but you're looking down through this rotation. So it's the northern hemisphere turning like that, but the southern hemisphere is a mirrored image reflected out from this turning image in here. So you've got this, quite interesting, isn't it? Fifth. It's called the fifth in music. Science tells us phi is associated with 500 or 500,000. Where'd that come from? I've done a video on that. Euclidean geometry, I've explained that. I've explained the father. I've explained the two 15-degree motions of the southern hemisphere stars. This is time trail photography. Will give you a full circle on a fixed camera, on a fixed tripod, 24 hours a day. But if you put another camera next to it on a tripod with a equatorial mount or some star tracker, you can pick one of these stars and film it moving out like this, west. So this is 15 degrees per hour, and this is a 15 degree per hour, right? Because this whole thing is turning like this around the whole flat earth over 24 hours. But man only sees his one image in his arc of horizon unless he tracks the star over the night with the star tracker. So you can't have a rotation here at the same time as the stars going like that. That on a spinning ball. But it proves the whole system of flat earth that this rotates all the way around the centre north rotation. That's the wheel within a wheel. It's rolling around. It does one 360 rotation as it rolls around. It's not spiraling like this. It just goes like this all the way around slowly to make up 24 hours over 360 degrees. But if you just stay fixed with a camera, you can film a complete circle because it's always coming in before it's moving out. But you're only seeing your one meridian, your arc of horizon, sitting there like this. But obviously if you track it, you'll see them going around like this. Okay? The wave of the ecliptic plane moves, that wobble. That's what they tell you about the wobble of a globe, because the ecliptic plane moving. I've done a video on that. Realizing how the images of the sun and the moon go over your arc of horizon like that. Change their appearance over the night because it's curving over like that. The mirrored image from the north to the south, they're mirrored. A lot of northern hemisphere people don't understand what's really going on because they only see their what's going on up north. All the details out south. Once you start equating them, it all starts making sense. So that's the ecliptic plane, we've been over that. So understanding the cycle of the magnetic field, phi. See, in there is the tropical zone, which is 23.4 degrees. What's remainder to make up 180 degrees in your arc from north to south? 66.6 degrees. I didn't write it all there. 66.6 degrees. That's pretty freaky, isn't it? 0.6 degrees plus 23.4. Is that what it is? I hope so. 66.6, 66.6, 23.4. Oh, what have we got here? It's 12, 16. That's not right, is it? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 12, 13, 14, 15. What have I done there? 6666. 66. 666. Okay, might have to forget that, not on top of my head. I better look into that. Okay, sorry about that. I've done nearly a video on that. Okay, so understand the Christian story is all about the centre of creation, because Christianity is about the conscious state of man and finding his balance. It's enlightenment. That's the whole Jesus story. Jesus is an enlightened person. That whole story concerns waking up. It's all about love and balance between the heart and the brain. All religions are all about that. So you can place this thing back in here. And it's also can be placed in the tropical gap, because the tropical gap here represents what's actually happened right back in there. All expanded out here into our realm. So there's one big circle. There's the circle back in here. And then you have to think of this flat plane sitting vertical in our realm. Atmospheric layers. There's seven chakras in the human body. There's 7 layers depth-wise of compaction below the earth. There's always an opposite. As above, so below. Everything to do with the design of our earth happens, we do on earth. We act it out on earth. So every time you do something that's going on, there's something similar up there in its pattern, in that cycle, doing the same thing. Like horse racing around the track, and there's separate lanes. The centre, they don't run in the dead centre, do they? It's hollowed out in the centre of the racetrack. You know, so there's no track in there. But on the inside track is the sun. It's always going to win the race. But we know horses, they come in and change tracks. There's lots of things. There's the Roman Coliseum, that sort of thing. The way that's all designed, it represents the sun, because the back of the sun is shielded by the Milky Way. So the back of the Roman Coliseum had that big arch at the back. That can also represent the eyebrow of Horus's eye. Eyebrow or whatever. This is all tucked inside the Milky Way. Okay? It all comes up off the Arctic centre. That comes up off the Arctic centre. It's all about wind. This balance, this equilibrium is all due to the wind. The flowing of the wind around the Arctic found the right resonant frequency. That's part of the story. There's lots of little bits to it. Found equilibrium within the system here, and bingo, the star in the vortex at the right time and right place. You know, it just turned up at the right time. Bingo, hit equilibrium, balance, perfection, love, God. That's what it's all about. Okay? That's the image of that's a meridian, the tropical gap. See, the human brain shaped the same. Not sure how much longer I've got on the video, but I'll read this reply. Someone questioned me. Good evening. I'm writing to you from Italy and have been following you for some time. I had to ask a question. You asked to do the experiment looking south with an equatorial telescope and with a telescope with a fixed camera on Sigma Octantis. What should I expect from their observations? I have videos to check. In the meantime, I will translate some of her videos into Italian. Good evening. So I've missed out half the conversation, I think. My reply is, I explained it in the video. It is star trail photography in the southern hemisphere facing south. You will film a circular motion of stars moving at 15 degrees per hour. At the same time, another camera next to it using a star tracker can track one of those southern stars as it curves another separate 15 degree per hour motion across your night sky heading west. Out and away from the fixed star trail circular pattern your first camera is filming. This proves that every observer in the southern hemisphere, or the south, observed seeing his own personal image of circular moving stars within his arc of horizon at all times of night when filming in star trail photography, because he is seeing a reflection of what is happening from within the hidden center north vortex of creation. On his meridian from center north to his direct south. A vortex is circular, isn't it? On the other hand, as the hidden vortex of the center north turns, its projected image out south has to move too, moving west. Hence why the stars out south are always curving west. This is the image of the southern wheel rolling around the central northern hemisphere of moving stars. Enoch's wheel within a wheel. All the ancients knew exactly how our flat earth worked. This is why it is written and kept forever. They know liars like those who control NASA will deceive the people, but the truth never stays hidden forever. Unfortunately, a whole generation of ignorant souls has lived and died never to understand or see the divine truth, not to mention the meaning to life, or meaning of life. The northern field of stars is a direct upward image of the stars turning in the hidden central vortex of creation. They spiral up one full 360-degree motion during night hours, to spiral down again during daylight hours, to start back from the same place the next night, seen from every individual's location at his time of night. They would have just shifted that little bit more around the earth, like looking south. But the sun has moved ahead of the stars by nearly 4 minutes, so time-wise they are seen dropped back that much each night. Okay, so the stars, if you're working on time in relation to the sun, the stars will drop back 4 minutes each night because the sun is raced ahead. The snake up the Christian cross represents this motion of stars because that cross represents the holy place of creation. Wow, I got all that in one video. That's pretty good. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Now, my videos only seem for a short period and they just die. YouTube does something with them. You get the big numbers in the first week or two, all of a sudden, that's it. So it's up to you to spread this information. Because I don't see anybody on, they're starting to use a bit of my knowledge, but they're not using all of it. They're not understanding it. Instead of talking so much, then just sit down and get it right in their head first, especially the stars. Because nothing moves faster than the sun. You know, the precession of the equinoxes is due to the sun moving ahead. All that sort of stuff. In the Milky Way, this little creep here, from, you know, vernal, from equinox to equinox. Doesn't have to be vernal, just that's just saying from one part of the earth.